low sound? All right, fantastic. Okay, hi Mussolini. I will call you up to stage, but let me just introduce what we are talking about to everyone, and then I will take questions. Okay. So, what is moving servers, right? I think this is a concept that is not absolutely clear in newer servers, in the sense that when like people, like some people ask me, like what should I do? I have a lot of problems in my server. Two alliances are feuding, or there is like a lot of bosses which are getting like competition amongst bosses and everything. And what should I do? And I tell them that why don't you find a server which is better suited for what you're looking for? And they say that, but rebuilding is so tough. So when I am saying about moving servers, I'm not saying that like just dump your castle and move to a new server. What I'm saying is you can just buy a castle somewhere else. So there are a few factors which you should consider while buying a castle. Uh, I'm going to be very blunt here, guys, and all of you can hate me for it, but I'm going to be absolutely blunt here because I think that if I don't give you honest advice and rather diplomatic advice, it won't really be it won't really be very good for all of you, right? So I myself, I'm from a server called 478. So in this server, what happened was I was the only big player, and it was fun for a while because like everyone in the server was like depended on me. Every SVS, like, and my original account was never on bot till like the last 1 month, and no one else had access to it, right? It was just me on that account. So the whole server depended on me. And like, so if they had a target in SVS, they would all I would get messages. So I would be like the top guy in SVS all the time. The whole battlefield was dependent on me. And yeah, so that was like that really felt good in a sense, right? But what I realized was that I just don't have enough like-minded people. uh, and by like-minded people, I don't mean like overall in life, but I mean in the game. Like in the game, I want to play the game a certain way, and there were just not enough uh, like-minded people on that server for me to really enjoy the game. I want to like go and take over every throne, or like have really bloody throne fights. I want to keep rallying in battlefields, and there were just not enough people in on that server who could keep up with that, because at the end of the day, this is a pay-to-win game, and uh, there were just not enough like-minded people on that server. So the next and very important question, like, and I think this is something that really, really uh, bothered me and took me a long time to answer was, am I good enough to play on a good server? Because on that server, like it's very difficult, right? Like, I mean, everyone depends on you. Like whatever you say works on the server. And and I was like feared and loved. And yeah, basically it was just like, I mean, it's still a lot of people, and like everyone was just like, Viper is here. And like whenever I was there, like it would be a different kind of atmosphere. So my question was like, would I be good enough to be good on a new server? And that question actually took me like a year to answer. Like, should I go there or not? I flirted with the idea of going to NFG and then RSP, and then finally ended up in VIG. So a few questions you need to answer before you even decide on a move is, uh, what are you exactly looking for in the game, right? So if you're not gonna spend money, like a lot of, like, all the PvP players on my server and people who were like really good at the game were non-coiners in my old server, and they came and they just did not find a place in VIG. So if you're coming to a big alliance, and like you maybe you love PvPing, but maybe if you're coming to a top alliance and you don't want to coin, you're probably not going to enjoy the game. In the top alliance, in the rally team, it is all about whales. There is not much you can do. Other like you can be a damn good PvP player, but there is sadly probably no place for you in the rally team of a big team, right? If you're a complete FTP, there is no place. So you need to look at what server you're going accordingly, right? You choose a server where like which have low coiners, but a great team. Because at the end of the day, what I said is just remember this: getting like-minded people is most important. Getting a team, but also like-minded people, right? If you're just going to play a trap in a bigger server, to be very honest, like the SVSs we have and everything, the SVSs we have and everything, there is not even much of a place for a trap, because if you're a really good trap, you get famous and no one will hit you, and if you're a bad trap, someone will one tap you. So this is very important. So like just and invest your time in knowing which server you want to go on. I mean, it's very easy to say that you want to go to Vig and RSP, but if you if you are like, and again, like you guys can hate me for it, if you guys are even like taking once a month, I mean, you probably won't be able to catch up on a keep in Vig or RSP. So just make sure that where you want to go on. But at the same time, like it depends on what kind of game you want to play. One of our new joinee, I think all of you know him, Rom. Rom is an absolute low coiner, right? I think he does. Maybe he can correct me, but I think he does mostly cake force, and he has a place in Vig. So you can identify how you want to play, and if you're smart, you still have a place, but again, it's a lot of grinding. It's not as much as fun. Maybe if he actually went to another server, a smaller server, he could have been like a big player there. He's a K40 11B, I think. That he could have been a big server on a server which is like ranked 580 or 600 or something like that in SVS. So that's a choice he made. But at the end of the day, you need to define the game you want to play, um, and then choose a server. Okay, I'm ready to take questions. If anyone has any questions, I'm ready to take questions now. You guys can raise your hands, guys, and I can take questions. All right, guys. Does anyone have any questions, or this is gonna be the shortest session ever? Okay. Uh,
Hey,
Hi, Kurg. How?
hey, I'm well on my first server, 1348, and I'm probably mid-range corner compared to some guys. I'm not that super big, doing a couple cakes a month and a little bit extra. Um, I'm having fun. I'm the only really big coiner on the server, and it's hard. Like you gotta like everything you said. My experience is about like that. I don't know if I'd actually be looking to move, but I'm curious as like how you guys like what happens after that first year when you're the only mega coiner? Like I figure you're eventually gonna reach a point where you can't compete, like get into challenge and all stars and all that when everyone keeps getting bigger, or does it kind of just stay how it is?
Okay. So it's.
I'm
I mean,
like,
if you're alone, if you're alone in a server, if you're alone in a server, you are never going to compete in Shalons. That's just there. I mean, unless you're Neo Matrix, right, and you're in C6. Again, Neo Matrix wouldn't be competing for Shalons in C2. So unless you're Neo Matrix and you're C6 and you can solo everyone, alone in a server, you're not going to compete ever in Shalons, right? And for me, winning Chalons was something I really, really wanted to do, which is why I wanted to move. Right. And of course, at that time, Vig was not a contender for Chalons. We were the finalists that year, but we were not really a contender. We were just like used to get blown out in 10 minutes. Right. So it took a lot of rebuilding to where we are today to actually be favorites in Chalons, or should I say, like, I mean, we have a fair chance of winning every Chalons. So yeah, it took a lot of rebuilding, but yeah, you're never going to compete in Chalons. But I don't see why it's a problem with All Stars. In All Stars, I mean, it's the same. As long as you qualify in All Stars, you have the same chances of winning, whether you're on a rally server or whether you are on a single server.
Oh yeah,
And
fascinating.
your other question, for me,
Well, yeah.
I, I just
What?
I just wanted to play in a team. I didn't want to play solo. It can remain interesting to play solo. Like, I mean, like some people are looking for that, right? Like, I mean, as long as we were ranked 500, 600, I was just conquering thrones solo because no one wanted to play me. So, you can do it solo for sure, but it just depends on
How
what
did
what
you?
you are looking for in the
What
game.
happens? Like, what is? I don't know. Like, how do you even go about doing anything that you're doing, where you get these opportunities to switch castles or something like that? It's completely something I've never
So
even. This is my first time hearing of it.
and and
Like,
and this is why I wanted to define this, right? When I say move servers, I don't like a lot of people say that you basically, oh, I have invested so much already, I don't want to like uh, get it to zero and start from zero again. What you can do is you can find a server where you think that you want to go, and remember, like a lot of people say that, oh, but like, and I'm not being arrogant here, but a lot of people say that, oh, everyone wants to play with Viper, so you get people. And what I am saying is, like, no one wants to play with Viper. Everyone wants to play with a friend. Go where your friends are. Like, I mean, this is very, very important. Like, I think why Vig has one of the most successful recruitment of all times is because everyone who has come to the server is a friend, is a very, very close friend, right? So uh, that always helps. And how you move is basically you sell your current castle and you buy another castle.
oh, fascinating.
That's
New
all it
world.
is.
Thank you very much.
That's all it is. You basically don't go to zero and start over again. That doesn't make sense. And that is what, like, I mean, when I actually moved servers, I was like really, really close friends with Oz. I mean, you know Oz from RSP. Like, we're still best buddies, right? So what my consideration was, what RSP offered me at that time in terms of a castle, I just didn't want to rebuild that much. And at that time, Vig was probably like 15th or 16th. RSP was like first or second at that time. And Sped was like a very close friend. Sped tried to recruit me in RSP, but I didn't want to like start from a K38 after being a maxed K40. So that influenced my decision. So again, it depends on what your decision is, right? Like, we had one player, Katara, right? So what Katara did was like, he took a K39. So what I told him was, hey, bro, why don't you wait for like a K41 or K42 to be available? And he said, I don't give a shit. Like, I can afford it. He bought a K39. It's a K44 41.5B in 6 months or 5 months, right? So it depends, like, how much money you are willing to spend and everything, and that's your move. He said that I just want to know that I'm going to the right place, and of course, like, if you have that kind of money, Vig is like the place to be, right? Like, I mean, uh, the alliance. So yeah, all this, like, these are a lot of factors, and you have to think through all of this before you make a decision.
Fascinating. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Kirk. uh do we have any other hands raised? uh I saw Working Mom first, so I'm just gonna.
Has there been any talk about Evony letting people port their existing keeps to another server?
Server migration is a pipe dream. Uh, it's not. I mean, if you are asking me the question, it's not gonna happen because once they do that, it's basically like. I mean, yeah. Like I know Phil during his days, and like now even like some big island coiners have written to Evony to actually allow server migration. I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Okay. Bummer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. It's just, and again, like I know what everyone feels, right? Like it sucks to take out, like give up like 800 or 1,000% buffs, but that's just what has to happen to actually move servers. Do you have any other questions?
Okay. No.
All right, thank you. Hi, Datius.
Hello, hey Viper.
Hi.
Just ask a quick question. So I'm on server
Yes.
1200 at the moment, and I'm not really a coiner. I'm basically a free-to-play player.
Okay.
How far can I really get in the game as a non-coiner?
How? Sorry. How?
Like, how far can I actually get in the game as a non-coiner? Like, obviously, my keep, I cannot have a. It's difficult to have a trap or to have a fat keep because it's going to be very expensive, very difficult to maintain. So,
Okay.
like, how far can I actually go as a non-coiner?
So I think like the most you can go as a non-coiner, I would say the shining example of it is AQ in WDF. He's I don't know, he's a K40 15B or something. But as Lizzie said that I am not the best. I mean, like I'm not the best person to answer questions like this. And I mean, again, AQ in WDF is the best person to tell you about this. Server 821. If someone can tag AQ, no, not a trap ROM. Like AQ is not a trap. AQ is a proper rally team player. So, but I couldn't answer exactly how far you can go and how he got to K4015B. But yeah, it's tougher than non-coiner for sure.
It is definitely. It's definitely tough. I run out of everything very fast, and I have to wait to save up. So,
I
and
know, and
Evony just keeps on making like surprises and taking away things that give us very good resources. Like, for example, the March speedups. They removed the Gathering Troops event, and it was one of the main
yeah,
sources. So I'm like, so how far can I go? Because I'm actually spending a lot of gems to speed up marches and all of that.
yeah. I mean,
Just
I wouldn't
progressing
do
very
that.
slow.
I wouldn't do that as a non-coiner. I would use gems for other things. I would rather be on a team which speeds up marches. I wouldn't try to be the big player speeding marches. That's for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, when you're recalling troops or in SVS and I'm ghosting, you have to speed up so you don't get caught. So eventually, I have to run out.
Yeah, it is tough. I'm sure. Uh, it's very important to ration resources in those cases. Like if you are just out of march fees, maybe not play SVS that much. Something like that, bro. I mean, I'm sorry. I wish I had a better answer for you, but that's the
Yeah,
game we
it's
play.
alright. It's alright. Yeah, I just wanted to know, like, should I, is it better for me to stay as I am, ghosting, or being like a trap keep or something? Just
I
wanted to know how far can I make it.
we can answer this question, but this is not the session. I will like to
Right.
remain on point. I'm talking about
Yeah,
moving
yeah.
servers. So, all right, all right. Thank you so much, Darkis.
All
I'm
right.
gonna pull
Thank you,
up the
Viper.
next person.
All right.
So,
Hi, Georgia. How are you?
pertaining to moving to servers, if you were to move to let's say a C6 server from a C5 server, and you've already
Right.
invested to, like, say, VIP 18, would you say it would be worth it if you do have a team on your server or not, but you also have a competing alliance on your server as well?
Um, Competing alliance is a very difficult question because like you're always certainly going to get cut in monsters and all. But a lot of people remember a lot of people actually have more fun in KE than like maybe Shalons or a battlefield. So if
Well, we're a full
you,
map server, so there's no KE.
well, depends. Like, if the question you really need to answer is, are you happy with that status in your server, right? Like, in our server, I was just not happy, to be very honest, because I wanted to win Shalons. Not. I mean, to be honest, I was not even thinking about winning Shalons those days. I wanted to play like beyond the round of 16. Those days, it was not round of 64. Uh, it was round of 16. I just wanted to play round of 16 once. So that got me moving, right? I just did not want to like sit without any Shalons matches for 16 after when round of 16 starts. So that got me thinking, that got me moving, and like no one else was actually spending money. People were spending money, but those people were not very bright. So
I mean,
yeah, that got me moving.
we have a great team. We place top 100 in challenge. We've got Red Wings. We're the PvP dominant alliance on the server. We carry pretty much every SVS by ourselves alone. I mean, last SVS I got like 12 bill positive, and like et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, without us as an alliance, that server would be non-existent.
So I think what's a great server is also dependent on what you are looking for in the game. Like, like top 100 in Shalons is great, but top 100 in Shalons is not a great alliance in this game. I'm sorry, I'm being very open and direct. Uh, but again, like if if you are looking for like top four, like for me, it was a very simple question. Like, I mean, now I don't spend that much, but in those days I used to like do 4K every event, 4K, 5K every event, and those days were retail. There was no pink gems or Aptoid and all that shit. So that was like 4K, 5K retail every event, and I was like, I'm not spending this much money for just not qualifying for Shalons, and that's why I moved. But again, you have to define what you're looking for in the game, and if two alliances and not being able to grow is bothering you, you need to look for a server where there is one alliance and go there.
Okay. If you were to choose to stay, what would you do differently in that server to
I would definitely, I
change
would
the
definitely look
dynamic?
I would definitely look at to make one alliance, or I would move.
Okay. I think that's all I was asking.
All right, thank you so much. Do we have any other questions? Hi, Nin, how are you? Hi, Nin, how are you? Nin, you're on mute. You're a speaker, but you're on mute.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much.
First of all,
What's
we
your
all have a
question?
question.
Yeah,
I have two
sorry.
questions. First of all,
Yeah,
we have a question. Have you never zeroed gym sack?
I have, yes.
They
Not
said
today,
you have.
but I have. What?
Okay.
Oh no,
Well,
the
someone in the chat said you haven't. So I just want to make sure.
we have but it depends, right? Whether Jim like the time we actually, like the one time I remember, Jim actually helped us zero him. Like he actually, like when everything was over, Jim actually soloed a lot and lost a lot of power, and after that we went for the zero. But I think we had to heal to zero Jim sack.
Okay. Second question is, where do I have to move to stop you from zeroing me and force porting me everywhere?
Okay. So back to C5.
I was not in C5.
C6. C4.
I was C6 with Neo Matrix.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm better than your metric. So
Well, he
at least I
matches
don't
you
do.
guys too.
No, I mean, we don't do it solo. So yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
except according to Genghis, he was better than you guys. And he even won against you
yeah,
guys. And you guys are not even on Mount Rushmore anymore.
yeah. True, true. All true. All true. But it is what it is.
I'm sorry, I'm just here to
All
troll.
right. No problem. No problem. Thank you so much.
He's mean to
Thanks
me,
so much.
okay? Bye.
All right. Thank you.
I have another question.
Do hi.
Pertaining to that competing alliance, would you kill that other alliance if you decided you didn't want to leave?
Depends. So, is the other alliance actually harming us in any, like, harming the server growth according to me in any way? By that I means competing in monsters,
Yes.
actually giving out negatives in SVS. And the third and the most important question is, uh, am I able to kill the alliance without any collateral damage?
Possibly.
Yeah, so if you are able to do that without any collateral damage, and you feel they're harming uh, your server, then yeah, I would kill the alliance, sure.
All right. That sounds realistic. I mean, if they don't really participate in any events and they don't really help the server in SVS or even join.
No. Help the server in SVS and harm the server in SVS are different things. So if they're actually giving out negatives every time, that's what's harming the server. If they're just sitting bubbled and they're listening to things like, okay, like we won't kill Wymirs, or like, I mean, not kill Wymirs, like we won't like compete with the big Wymirs and all. That's fine. We can all live in peace. Vig, like in 428, we live in peace for the moment at least. Uh, we have a very good understanding of, like, I mean, they will live pants for us. They don't kill pants, and all of them support us. So I wouldn't just kill for the sake of killing.
Well, they steal all the monsters and outscore us just by stealing all the monsters. Speeding to
I
everything.
mean, it's not. If it's speeding, you have to come to a discussion about, like not speeding or something. But again, like this is not exactly to the topic. I would like to remain on the topic of moving servers, so we
Yeah.
can have a discussion on this later, maybe.
All right, moving on.
X-Wing's question is, please speak on what steps you take from a recruiting perspective when looking at candidates from other servers to take one of your accounts over in Wave, and what steps should those people take before paying for an account? Okay, so this is a very important question. Uh, a very important question. So for me, like when I started recruitment, of course, initially it was very tough. I mean, even our big accounts, like I remember we were trying to sell Fuong, which was a big account, and we just couldn't find the buyer, right? So what I noticed, and this is very important, is, and I told this before also, the people you recruit are friends. Those are the easiest people to recruit. If you're just looking to recruit like like just a Bitcoiner and you want to recruit them, more often than not, I mean, we have tried that. Not like we have never tried to recruit the biggest coiner we know, but it often doesn't work out. The people who actually come to play with us are people who I consider like close friends, and the friends come to play with friends, right? People who have been talking to. You talk about Kara, you talk about Geek, and Mountain and me are like best friends in real life. Me and Geek know each other in real life. You talk about all of them, like all the big, like all like like from the outside it looks like Vig only recruits Bitcoiners, but in the inside it's just like very close friends coming to play with each other, and that's why we don't have any drama. Like given how many Bitcoiners we have in Vig, and we just don't have that kind of like we can't support as much as an island server can support in terms of growth, because the RSS has to be distributed. So so in spite of that, people come because it's a great atmosphere to play in Vig. Like there is no drama, there are no egos. People don't like like if you score more than me, I'm not counting, and that's that. And it takes a lot of sacrifice. Once someone gets to a certain place, they are not supported at all. Like they have said that okay, you can do it on your own, and we will support the mid carders more. So in spite of all of that, we have never had a fight in Vig, and I think that's because there are no dramas, and you just gotta recruit friends. Um, and what steps should people take before paying for an account? So before people pay for an account, I think Zero here also knows that we basically have a call with a few of the Vig members, and we tell them what life in Vig is going to be about. Uh, we even tell them to test an account before they buy it. So these are the steps we take. Like we tell them what they're expecting from life in Vig, and that's just I mean yeah, it's a long discussion. It's a 2 hour phone call with almost everyone in Vig. Not everyone, like a few of us in Vig. They have a fair expectations of what they expect in Vig. So aren't you worried you get yourself in another server just to experience the same thing again? Like sooner or later you might get to experience the server dying again. uh yes. There is always a chance that you go to another server and that dies again. Uh, but at the end of the day, you have to take this risk if you want to move. Uh, I think Panda said it correctly that uh, you need to be sure before you coin and you go all in. Maybe you go there, wait for a week, see whether you believe in the server's potential. And again, like you cannot go to another server and just chill and think that okay, they're taking care of things. You got to get yourself involved, right? Like in Vig, I don't think we had a proper recruitment uh, uh, thing before I came, and I fixed it. So you got to trust in yourself. You got a few like-minded players, and you take it from there. Okay. You ask, so what gets you to the point of leaving? Sorry, I can't find that question. What gets you to the point of leaving? Though I really have a great group, but we are small and don't have a lot of heavy coiners. I have people ask me to move, but I always go back to how much I love the friends I've made. How can you evaluate? Uh, is where you're going is better or worse? Okay. So what gets you to the point of leaving? I had a great. I feel you. I had a great bunch of friends also. What really got me to leaving was very simple. I wanted to play the round of 16-inch allowance. It's a very simple wish. I want to play the round of 16-inch allowance, and that is what got me to leaving. So you have to ask what you are looking for in the game. If you have a great group of players, doesn't matter if you're not heavy coiners, right? Not everyone is playing to be the best, and like in Evony, to be very honest and to be very harsh, being the best means you just are like coining more. Not everyone who is coining more are doing great, but if you're definitely not doing great without coining more. So yeah, I mean, it's not like a Counter Strike or something where you are looking for the best team in terms of skills and all. Skills are, to a great extent, can be replaced by coining. So Yeah, that's your answer. So, Zar asks, talk about. Sorry, 1 second. Talk about being one alliance on the server, the importance of not being fragmented. Uh, yeah, I mean, sure, it's a great. It's very important that all the PvP players are in one alliance. Again, it depends on what you guys are looking for. If you're looking to compete in chalons, which for most of us are it, like is the most important thing. We want to compete in chalons, so definitely you can't be into alliances because you're curbing each other's growth by by competing for monsters. You cannot protect throne because you're in different alliances, and you are never having a big enough rally. So yeah, I mean that's very important that you have one alliance and not different alliances. But again, if you're just playing to kill it, like in some servers, the hate is so much that they just want to kill each other in KE, and that's how they have fun, and that's also fine. You can have like KE, you can just cost each other money, and that's fun. Uh, what's a good resource to get unbiased evaluation of another server? One you may potentially move to. Okay, so I would say that uh, talk to like the whole team there. Like even if you really like the server, talk to the whole team there. Uh, Say if you can play a trap or something in that battlefield. See how you like the battlefield, how they go about it, and yeah, I mean, like for me, I actually had a small castle in NFG, uh, and I really liked NFG to be honest, but I didn't want to rebuild again. So just make sure that you have the castle you want, because rebuilding is a tough job and you can't do it unless you are totally 100% in on it. So yeah, just see if you can build it, keep a trap, and then see the account you're buying, and that's how you evaluate a server. Would you replace a good K42 on server full of farmers to a K40 on another server, or would you wait for a server merge? Uh, okay, so this is a very interesting question, right? Uh, if you have a again, and I think I have already answered this, but I'm gonna keep it short and answer this again. So, if you have a good K42 and you're enjoying your time, like just playing solo, I see no reason why you have to replace. But if like if you're not enjoying, you want to play in a team, then definitely go for a K40. And it also depends on like whether you have the financial or you have the willingness to actually invest again to make a K42 to a castle you wanted to play or you want to play. So that is what it depends on. Uh, but lately, playing against buffs of force, is this the new meta? Just a one-off echelons with players using battlefield buffs. Uh, I don't think like uh, 4800 is that good anymore. I know people who are even at 5100 or something, but yeah, I think if you are not in a heavy coining alliance, in a big alliance, you will not face these people on a regular basis. Uh, so I think if we can have Zero on stage here, I'm just going to invite him. Uh, I'm not sure if Zero can speak. So Zero had like a pretty uh, like a pretty stacked K44 in C5, and he decided to move to our server. It was a K43, not that great buffs, and he decided to move anyway. And I think he can speak about his experience about how it felt to downgrade from a perspective which of C5. Zero, are you on, bro? I'm not sure he can speak. Zero, can you speak? Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So again, okay, maybe JC can speak or Rom can speak. They also downgraded their castle, and it will be a very interesting perspective uh, in the sense that they are low coiners in a alliance where we face the biggest coiners. We face 4,500, 4,600 bucks all the time, and yet they made a move so they can probably speak about their experience on that. I have invited both of them to speak. Not sure if they can speak.
Hi,
Hi, JC, how are you?
good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So, what do you think? Like, I mean, coming like because you had already invested to the VIP 18 on your server, and you took like a pretty almost a trap keep in Vig, and you have been grinding on it. What's your experience about that?
Um, I think I mentioned in the chat as well. I think initially, and I and I think most people at Big will know, it took a while for me to let go of my C5 account. Because yeah, like I mean, like most people, like you put in your money, you put in your time, and to let that go can be difficult. But um, but yeah, like it just goes to the point of what do you want in the game? And I wanted to be a better player. I wanted to learn you know, um how to be a better player, how to be a better team player, how to and to also compete in sort of like, bigger battlefields, etc. So yeah, moving to Vig, even though the account was a lot less than what I had, I think I've gained more from moving to Vig than staying in C5.
Yeah,
Rom, you want to weigh in on this?
similar kind of experience for me as well. It was like, my previous keep was fairly high on buffs. I mean, it's not as high as the drop that Zero probably had, but like it was 300, 400% buffs that I was gonna drop. And at my level of coining, that is quite a bit. And the flip side of it was I get to play pretty much all star caliber matches every single battlefield, and I knew I was going into a team where the mindset, like you said, that resonated a lot with me because that's the part I struggled with on my previous C3. It was like trying to drag people to do stuff day in, day out. It starts to weigh on you. And somebody asked this question: how far can you get as a single person? Like, you can go a bit on a C6, like Viper said, but once the continent starts to get a bit stable, then you start running into actual teams, and then you can't really solo everyone out. So yeah, and we got to a point where okay, we're doing good in BOC. We're pushing people for wings. I think we managed to get like 4 people red wings on the server before I managed to move, and it was like okay, it's going well. So what's the next step? Next step is like aim for top 64 in Shalons or whatever. And I tried for 2 seasons, and I couldn't really get anyone to be motivated to push for that, and that kind of gave me a clear indication that okay, it's not going to work. I want this to work. Like friends and everything, but I had an honest conversation with like the close circle that we had, all the R4s and everything, and I said, guys, this is where we are. And as much as I don't want to leave and everything, but I think I want to play in a place where it's just more competitive. And they said, yeah, man, that's totally understandable. You've been dragging us all, and I know it takes a toll. So, yeah, it was an open, honest conversation. And really, if they're actually your friends, they'll never stop you, knowing you're unhappy to a certain extent. And I still hang out on the old Discord with them. I fill in for battlefields and everything. So you still keep that rapport, you still keep the connection. You're just playing in a different team, and I've made a whole lot of new friends.
Right. Yeah, let me just pull up Pandora and Jake so that they can talk about other alliances. I don't want to make this like very Vic centric. I'm not sure
Mm-hmm.
if Pandora can speak, but I'm putting her up on stage. Uh, Pandora, if you can speak, or anyone else who wants to speak about their experience of moving, I'm happy to pull you up on stage.
Hey, what's up?
Hey Jake, so
Hey,
if you want to
Jake.
talk about your experience of moving and like what was in your head and
Yeah. So I left a C4 server to join RSP. I already had a couple friends there, so it was an easy move. The reason I left my C4 team is it just started dying out. Like the largest guy left, and then I was left to kind of carry the team in a sense, and that's just too much for one person. So I was looking for like a super team oriented team and like just like a big chance to like grow, and I found that in RSP. It was pretty much either RSP or VIG, and I already had friends in RSP. So if anyone's like feeling like they're carrying their server or their alliance, that's like a big red flag that you might need to like consider leaving, you know. Since coming here,
makes
like
sense.
it's like Ron said, it's like all stars every battlefield. It's like it's what you should be playing the game for, coming to teams like this, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I mean, like,
Right.
given the amount of money we all spend, like, not saying everyone spends the same amount of money, but people do spend within their sort of budget and what they can spend, right? So
Hmm.
whatever any person is spending is what they can afford to spend in a certain sense. And if you're spending that much money and time on a game, and what's the max we get to play it actually, like PvP aspect? It's battlefields, and that's about it. So, SVS, yeah, okay. But SVS, not everyone plays the whole weekend. Like, maybe get 2 hours, 3 hours off of it. And then the rest of it is just battlefields, right? So, why not play somewhere where that's going to be a lot more fun? So, you get a much better return on, or fun value to what you're spending on the game. I don't want to use return on investment because it's not a fucking investment, but
Yeah, just your entertainment is gonna be a
yeah,
lot better.
exactly.
Another
All right,
thing, like,
let us hear from X-Wing. Let us hear from X-Wing. He will present a GOT perspective. X-Wing, are
Yeah.
you
Hey
here?
guys. Yeah, yeah.
Hey, X-Wing, how are you?
For me, yeah, I came from C5, a VIP 21 premium account, right? But really, the reason I left was I just didn't have what I wanted in the game there. I mean, I carried the server. I had no problem doing, I did everything there, right? The rally setter, the server leader, I did all the trainings. I reviewed every account on the server, all that stuff. I had no problem with that. The issue was I wanted to compete at a higher level, and that's what I wanted in the game. But for a lot of people, that's not what you want. Maybe you enjoy playing with your
Hmm.
friends, um, and and that's why I kind of asked that question earlier, Viper. What do you do before moving to a server? Go play with them, fill in on an account, and see if you enjoy those battlefields because they're all pretty much the same. They're all going to be fast paced and heavy hits all the time. Maybe that's not for you. So just some stuff to think about before you move. It may not be worth it for you. But
Right,
again, if you're
100%.
what you said, right? Like if you're stuck on your server, you're an island there, or you're carrying everybody, and the load is too heavy, and you're just trying everything to get them up to your level. They may not want to get there. They may not want to be at your level, and they never will.
Agreed, 100%.
yeah.
All right,
Can I say one last thing?
sorry. Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Yeah, so in my experience, when I was account shopping to see like where I wanted to go, 9 times out of 10, the account that you're gonna be moving into is like already stacked with stuff. So like you don't have to worry immediately about coining right away, you know? Like more often than not, it's gonna be stacked for a big team.
Right, right. Can we have someone who moved into a like not so known server and speak about their experience? Because at this moment we are having like all the known servers, right? Like when you're thinking of moving, I'm sorry, I don't want to sound arrogant, but you are thinking like the big five alliances, all right? So can we have who has moved into a, okay.
Hi guys. So
Hi, Snow, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I've actually moved 6 or 7 servers. I started as a baby C4 server, uh, and I'll say the experience of moving servers has been so satisfying, even as not even a large coiner, because by no means am I a large coiner, low to mid, if that. I joined Uno last Austerlitz, and
Right.
the enjoyment I get there has surpassed anywhere else I've ever been. Uh, I had wanted to compete at that higher
That
level, but knowing that I didn't
that
coin,
but but
sorry.
but that just sounds dirty how the way you say it. The enjoyment I get there, but
Well,
okay. Yeah, Uno is a great alliance, and Beso's an awesome guy. We speak all the time. But yeah, sorry, please go ahead.
yeah, well, I mean, yeah, Uno forever on, yeah, absolutely. So knowing that I'm not a large coiner, knowing that, I'm not going to have that ginormous keep, kind of to Jake's point, I came into Uno and took over a keep that was stocked with more Civ gear than I could ever imagine. I was just like, what is going on here? It was stocked with all sorts of goodies that I just couldn't imagine. And it felt like the world is my oyster. And the team that I found and know that the support that I get from them, I know that I'll be able to achieve some of those goals like All Stars one day. Even without my coining level being super high, because they're there for the rallies. They're there to help me with my build. Uh, I left a lot of friends behind, but the friends that I've gained has been insurmountable. I like I
Right.
said, we just hop on voice chat for no reason, or I'll say, "Hey guys, I don't know what to do with these pieces. I've never had these pieces of Civ gear before. Can someone walk me through this?" And everybody's like, "Yeah,
Right.
let's hop on voice chat. Let's do this." Uh, so if you're not enjoying where you're playing, I 1,000% support moving around. I shopped, like I said, 6 or 7 servers. I even started over on a baby server from scratch, just to see if I could find a team that I wanted to play with. And if it wasn't for Anya reaching out and saying, "Hey, there's a keep that we need a person to sit in," I might not have ever gotten there. So I think it's Yio here who was saying like, "I'll never be able to play at those big teams." You can play at those big teams because we all have our part. So even if you're not the big heavy hitter, you can still play a support role. I'm a rally joiner through and through. I know that. And I'm fine with that because the leadership that I follow has just brought so much enjoyment to my game.
Right. And what Zal says here is extremely important. Filling keeps is a great way to shop. Just to see what the team is like. It's you can always like ask like the lines you want to go to. You can always ask them to fill and see whether they are what you want.
Absolutely. And I said it in chat earlier. People are worried about, well, what about my friends that I'm leaving behind? Like other people said, they're still there. You can still chat with them. They don't just magically not become your friends because you're not on the server anymore. But I stay connected with them and I say, "Hey guys, they're doing like Bog slot 3 and that's in the middle of my work day. Who's free to fill Bog? I need scores to unlock my Senate seat. Can you get me the Senate seat for me?" And my old server mates will hop into that account for me and fill, and then they get to know the team, and then they start wanting to move over. So you can bring friends over, especially if there's more than one keep. Might not be immediate, but it happens.
Right. 100% agree with you.
One thing, one thing I'd like to add is get your expectations set in the sense of just because you're moving to a big team, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to all of a sudden spend way more than you can and get into shit because of it. Like right from the beginning, just talk to the team you're moving to and set your expectations straight. like what that means in terms of the role that you'll play in the team, what that means in terms of how much financial commitment you will have. But it's just important to sort of get that aspect very clear, because I've heard a lot of people say this before, like, oh yeah, move to a bigger team, and ended up spending a
Personal.
lot more money than I would have on the other server and things like that. It's not the case with everyone. It's definitely not the case with me. And it's just a matter
Where
of
is she?
making sure you're on the same page,
It's
and
hiding
that's it.
somewhere.
So yeah, just wanted to throw that in there.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
does anyone else except Snow want to
Here.
talk about a smaller team, please?
Yeah,
Or
sorry,
we're gonna
I still keep
probably close it
big
now?
team.
I'm not. I'm looking at. We came out and put the car
Uh,
seat and walked back to the front door.
When you locked the car.
Huh?
You locked it.
Oh, you
okay,
were gonna
if we
hide
have
in there?
no more questions. Okay, if we have no more questions, we'll probably call it a day.
All right, I'm gonna drop out. Thanks, Viper, and thanks, Anya,
All right.
for hosting events like this.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
If I could just
All
add
right.
one final comment really
Yeah,
quick.
sure. Of course. Of
Uh,
course.
so I think what we've been saying and what I've heard and what I will urge everybody to do is use C5 Discord, use the other Discords to network. That's how I got where I am. I was just moving around, I was talking to people, and one day it was like, hey, can you do this? And I said, yeah, sure, let's do this. So you might not think that you're ready to do something, but you might have conversations with people and they might think you're ready and invite you to take that step that you don't know that you need to take.
Right. Agreed. Thank you so much, No. Thank you, everyone who actually joined the call. Thank you, Anya, for organizing this as always. I hope we were able to help you a little bit. Uh, thank you. Good night, everyone.